While the coronavirus has certainly affected the world at large, causing many international lockdowns and travel bans that have paralyzed global economy ever since its original outbreak in Wuhan, China, there are some types of virus that are far deadlier than the COVID-19. On today's video, we will be talking about some viruses that, while perhaps not being as well known or having affected the economy as much as the COVID-19, are far deadlier than the coronavirus due to their high mortality rates. There are even some types of coronavirus much deadlier than the COVID-19. So let's begin with the first place on our list. The first virus to occupy our list is the Marburg virus. Identified first in 1967, when a small outbreak occurred in Germany among lab workers exposed to infected monkeys from Uganda. Marburg virus is similar to Ebola in that both can cause hemorrhagic fever, meaning that infected people develop high fevers and bleeding throughout the body that can lead to shock, organ failure, and death. The virus can be transmitted by exposure to one species of fruit bat, or it can be transmitted between people via body fluids, through unprotected sex, and broken skin. The disease can cause bleeding, fever, and other symptoms similar to Ebola. The virus is so dangerous that the World Health Organization has rated it as a risk group 4 pathogen. The NIH National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases ranks it as a Category A priority pathogen. Second place, Ebola. The first known Ebola outbreaks in humans struck simultaneously in the Republic of the Sudan and the Democratic Republic of Congo in 1976, although it's important to note that each strain varies in mortality. The symptoms of Ebola tend to begin between 2 days and 3 weeks after contracting the virus, beginning with a fever, sore throat, muscular pain, and headaches. Vomiting, diarrhea, and rash usually follow, along with decreased function of the liver and kidneys. At this time, some people begin to bleed both internally and externally. The disease has a high risk of death, killing 25% to 90% of those infected, with an average of about 50%. The virus spreads through direct contact with body fluids such as blood from infected humans or other animals. The outbreak underway in West Africa began in early 2014 and is the largest and most complex outbreak of the disease to date. Third place, HIV. HIV is a sexually transmitted infection. It can also be spread by contact with infected blood or from mother to child during pregnancy, childbirth, or breastfeeding. Without medication, it may take years before HIV weakens your immune system to the point that you have AIDS. An estimated 32 million people have died from HIV since the disease was first recognized in the early 1980s. The disease continues to devastate many low- and middle-income countries, where 95% of new HIV infections occur. Nearly 1 in every 25 adults within the WHO African region is HIV positive, accounting for more than 2/3 of the people living with HIV worldwide. Fourth place, rabies. Rabies is a viral disease that causes inflammation of the brain in humans and other mammals. Animals most likely to transmit rabies in the United States include bats, coyotes, foxes, raccoons, and skunks. In developing countries of Africa and Southeast Asia, stray dogs are the most likely to spread rabies to people. Once a person begins showing signs and symptoms of rabies, the disease nearly always causes death. Some of the symptoms are irritability, aggressiveness, agitation, confusion, hallucinations, and seizures. Although rabies vaccines for pets, which were introduced in the 1920s, have helped make the disease exceedingly rare in the developed world, this condition remains a serious problem in India and parts of Africa. Fifth place, smallpox. Smallpox was an infectious disease caused by one of 2 virus variants, variola major and variola minor. Often those who survived had extensive scarring of their skin, and some were left blind. The initial symptoms of the disease included fever and vomiting. This was followed by formation of sores in the mouth and a skin rash. Over a number of days, the skin rash turned into characteristic fluid-filled bumps with a dent in the center. The bumps then scabbed over and fell off, leaving scars. In 1980, the World Health Assembly declared the world free of smallpox. But before that, humans battled smallpox for thousands of years, and the disease killed about 1 in 3 of those it infected. It left survivors with deep permanent scars and often blindness. In 18th century Europe, it is estimated 400,000 people per year died from the disease, and 1/3 of the cases resulted in blindness. These deaths included 4 reigning monarchs and a queen consort. Smallpox is estimated to have killed up to 300 million people in the 20th century and around 500 million people in the last 100 years of its existence. As recently as 1967, 15 million cases occurred per year. 6th place, influenza. Influenza, commonly known as the flu, is an infectious disease caused by an influenza virus. During a typical flu season, up to 500,000 people worldwide will die from the illness according to the World Health Organization. But occasionally, when a new flu strain emerges, a pandemic results with a faster spread of disease and often higher mortality rates. The most common symptoms include high fever, runny nose, sore throat, muscle and joint pain, headache, coughing, and feeling tired. These symptoms typically begin 2 days after exposure to the virus and most last less than a week. 7th place, dengue. Dengue fever is a mosquito-borne tropical disease caused by the dengue virus. Symptoms typically begin 3 to 14 days after infection. These may include a high fever, headache, vomiting, muscle and joint pains, and a characteristic skin rash. Dengue virus first appeared in the 1950s in the Philippines and Thailand, and has since spread throughout the tropical and subtropical regions of the globe. Dengue is even theorized to spread further in the future due to global warming. Dengue sickens 50 to 100 million people a year, according to WHO. Although the mortality rate for dengue fever is lower than some other viruses at 2.5%, the virus can cause an Ebola-like disease called dengue hemorrhagic fever, and that condition has a mortality rate of 20% if left untreated. 8th place, MERS-CoV-2. Another coronavirus similar to COVID-19, the virus that causes Middle East Respiratory Syndrome, or MERS, sparked an outbreak in Saudi Arabia in 2012 and another in South Korea in 2015. The MERS virus belongs to the same family of viruses as SARS-CoV and SARS-CoV-2, and likely originated in bats as well. The disease infected camels before passing into humans and triggers fever, coughing, and shortness of breath in infected people. MERS often progresses to severe pneumonia and has an estimated mortality rate between 30% and 40%, making it the most lethal of the known coronaviruses that jumped from animals to people. As with SARS-CoV and SARS-CoV-2, MERS has no approved treatment or vaccine. 9th place, SARS-CoV-2. The distant cousin of the COVID-19, SARS-CoV-2, is also a coronavirus that causes severe acute respiratory syndrome, or SARS. First appeared in 2002 in the Guangdong province of southern China. The disease causes fever, chills, and body aches and often progresses to pneumonia, a severe condition in which the lungs become inflamed and fill with pus. SARS has an estimated mortality rate of 9.6% and as of yet has no approved treatment or vaccine. However, no new cases of SARS have been reported since the early 2000s. 10th place, hantavirus. Recently rising to fame due to the death of a man due to hantavirus in China, among its symptoms are nausea and vomiting and abdominal pain, and also a dry cough followed by a rapid onset of breathing difficulty. The virus is not transmitted from one person to another. Rather, people contract the disease from exposure to the droppings of infected mice. Humans may become infected with hantavirus through contact with rodent urine, saliva, and feces. Certainly, while the COVID-19 outbreak is worrisome, there are far deadlier viruses out there on Earth that have caused more damage to the world than the coronavirus. In fact, as you could see in our list, there are other types of coronaviruses much deadlier than the COVID-19 has been. We thank you for watching this video and invite you to comment which one of these you found the most terrifying. Also, don't forget to give us a like, share this video with your friends, and subscribe to our channel for more amazing content like this. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.